Coming up on Network Africa, Kenya's Electoral Commission admits that there was an attempt to hack its IT system to influence election results, but it was unsuccessful. Grandson of former Ugandan dictator Taban Amin has been elected as a member of parliament for Kibanda North constituency. And the UN calls for action to avert famine threatening 20 million people worldwide. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. We're keeping a tab on the elections in Kenya, which is where we start today. The latest is that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Wafula Chebukati, has admitted that there had been an unsuccessful attempt to hack its IT system. Mr. Chebukati did not elaborate on who may have attempted to hack or if it's being investigated further. Yesterday, opposition presidential candidate Raila Odinga alleged that the Commission's computers had been infiltrated by hackers and the results manipulated, but the Commission denied this. The count published on the Commission's website so far shows that incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta has a commanding lead over Mr. Odinga. Meanwhile, reactions have continued to trail the elections in Kenya after Mr. Odinga's claim of discrepancies in the polls. The head of the European Union's election observer mission, Mariette Schaake, says it has not seen signs of centralized or localized manipulation of the voting process. She told reporters that the EU mission's final report would evaluate the conduct of the tallying process, which opposition leader Raila Odinga says had been compromised by hackers.
So we've heard serious allegations that there had been a hacking of the electoral system, and I think that these serious allegations must be seriously looked into. But we, as an independent and impartial election observation mission, are not investigators. We do not have the mandate or the access to investigate what exactly happened. But if this case is brought to the IEBC to look at, or potentially to the authorities here in Kenya, our role would be to see how those complaints are looked into by the competent authorities, whether the rule of law is respected, and how that process goes on.
Mariette Schaake, head of the European Union's election observer mission in Kenya. Meanwhile, the African Union monitoring team has also described the process as credible. South Africa's former president Thabo Mbeki, who headed the mission, told journalists that he was satisfied with the way the Electoral Commission had conducted itself. Burundian President Pierre Nkurunziza also made comments about the election and congratulated President Uhuru Kenyatta jumping the gun before official results are announced. He wrote on his Twitter page, quote, "On behalf of all Burundians, I congratulate President-elect Uhuru Kenyatta and the people of Kenya, looking forward to strengthening our relations," end of quote. Final results are yet to be announced, but provisional results released by the Election Commission shows that Kenyatta had won 54.3% of the votes ahead of Odinga on 44.8%, a lead of 1.4 million votes, with 97% of polling stations already reported. Now, Kenyan journalist Teddy Otieno joins us now on the program. Teddy, glad to have you with us again.
Good evening to you and many thanks.
Right, talk to us about the clashes reported earlier today.
Well, the clashes were coming from various quarters in Nairobi, where I can specifically identify Mathare area, which is quite volatile. But then again, police were able to move in with speed, and they contained the situation. So far, no casualties reported as such, but we still have the number at 4 as of yesterday evening, when we had clashes there, which spilled over to today. But of course, the official number that we're getting on the ground is 4 people. So far, 4 people have died from clashes related to the election violence-related clashes in the capital, Nairobi.
So far, the Electoral Commission in Kenya says there's no evidence of hacking, even though there was an attempt. What happens to the concerns expressed by the opposition?
Well, the opposition was very, very affirmative on the matter regarding the hacking of the electoral system. But then again, the EU observers, the AU observers, the COMESA observers, all the observers that were handling the mission in Kenya have stated that the elections were free and fair. But then the latest from the opposition is that they've submitted a letter with all the details regarding the alleged hacking. Raila Odinga, the opposition presidential candidate, Musalia Mudavadi, who is the NASA chief agent and also a co-principal in the coalition, have both stated that they've just submitted the letter to the IEBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, and what we're waiting is now communication from IEBC regarding this matter.
So turnout was quite impressive this time around, and contrary to what was feared, there has been no widespread violence, even though there were pockets of violence in some parts of the country. How did Kenya achieve this feat?
Well, Kenyans are a tired lot with regards to violence in the country. And number two, the message of peace was well spread before the elections. Kenyans rallied behind each other, and the calls for peace were all over. We sampled views from the streets right before, during, and even after the elections. That it's one voice in Kenya. It is all about peaceful elections and peace after the electioneering period. Businessmen in all the cities across the country, the three main cities in Mombasa, Nairobi, and Kisumu, the lakeside city, which is Raila Odinga's home turf. All these quarters are talking about normalcy being restored in those areas. In Eldoret, which is Deputy President William Ruto's home turf, it is the same music that is being played there. It is called for normalcy to be restored, and it is out of the initiative of the Kenyans themselves. I can say that the situation has been contained so far. So it is only an appeal to all the Kenyans across the country to keep it as is, because ideally, you know, there is no major incident that has been reported.
What about the results? How soon will they be officially announced?
Well, we'd like to confidently tell our viewers in Nigeria and across the world that as at tomorrow afternoon local time, that is East African time, the presidential results will be officially announced. I've just confirmed this from the IEBC Chief Executive Officer, and he's just said that tentatively the results will be announced tomorrow afternoon. So by that, it is about from 3 p.m. East African time, that should be about 1 p.m. Nigerian time. We'll start monitoring, and we'll be sure to give you the results as they are reported. Over to you.
Thank you for that information. Thanks again, Teddy, for your time on Network Africa.